Hey, what's up everybody? It's Amaya. So today we are back with another discussion video, and this one actually is not as positive as the other ones have been. This one is something that has been making me really upset and kind of even angering me a little bit. So I want to talk to you guys about it, see what your opinions are, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Today we are going to be talking about how Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York has been comparing the coronavirus deaths in New York City to the deaths experienced on 9/11/2001. I have a lot of problems with this statement, and I'm going to be laying them out to you here today, and hopefully we can discuss this issue. You can disagree with me, you can agree with me, but I just kind of want to get my opinion out there because I feel like it's kind of important. I want to preface this by saying that I am someone who was not affected by 9/11 directly. I was only one when it happened, so I do not have any real life experience with it. I don't even remember it. So I want to say that if you are someone who has experienced something and you feel differently, or I am getting information incorrect or anything like that, please correct me in the comments. And also please know that I am so sorry to anyone who was affected by either 9/11 or COVID-19, which are the two things that we are going to be talking about today. I am not an expert and I am not claiming anything on either side. I'm just sharing my opinion. So just want to get that out there. Don't come for me, please. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's hop right into the video. So if you live in New York and you have been watching Governor Andrew Cuomo's daily briefings, or if you just have been kind of seeing what the news in New York is lately, we are currently flattening our curve. But lately in his news briefings, Cuomo has repeatedly compared the deaths lost during 9/11 to the deaths lost from COVID-19 in New York.
9/11 was supposed to be the darkest day in New York for a generation. We've done everything we can since 9/11 to make sure 9/11 didn't happen again. We lose 2,753 lives on 9/11. We've lost over 7,000 lives to this crisis. That is so shocking and painful and breathtaking.
I have several issues with this, and the first thing I want to say is that these two situations, while they are both crises, I guess you could say, are nowhere near similar. Nowhere near similar, and I think that's very important to state, and I think they are being compared for certain reasons that I will talk about at the end of this video, but I want to get some facts out there to say why I think this is 100% disrespectful to those who died in 9/11 and the families and friends of those affected by those deaths. I want to start with the obvious thing. 9/11 was a human-on-human attack. Humans were attacking other humans. Humans were responsible for the deaths of other humans. And that is probably one of the most horrible things that can happen. Because the thing about humans is we have a brain, we can think, we come up with these ideas, and we execute them. That is horrible. COVID-19 is a virus or nature on human attack. We cannot control nature. Nature does not have a brain, so to speak. Compared to humans, nature cannot control itself nor be controlled per se, and it is not intentionally carrying out an act that is killing somebody. And I think that's one of the biggest differences that distinguishes 9/11 and COVID-19 is that 9/11 was purposeful. COVID-19 is nature. To me, I feel like that could be the end of the argument. Like, there's no way to compare these two things. But let's talk about why Cuomo is actually comparing these two. And the reason is because they are both very dark times for New Yorkers, and especially those who live in the city. But here's the issue I keep having. Cuomo is comparing the numbers lost on 9/11 to the numbers lost from COVID-19. First issue, the numbers for COVID-19 are in New York as a whole. The numbers for 9/11 are in New York City at the World Trade Center. So I'm filming this on April 10th, 2020 at 3:45 p.m. and the number of people that have died in New York at this time is 7,844. I'm sure that number will be up by the time that this video actually gets uploaded, but I just want to say that that is the total number of people right now in New York who have passed from COVID-19. On September 11th, 2001, 2,763 people lost their lives at the World Trade Center alone. That includes the 343 firefighters and paramedics, the 23 New York City police officers, and the 37 Port Authority police officers as well. Now, 7,844 people have died in New York as a whole, but in New York City, to date, like I said, April 10th, 2020, there is currently a death toll of 5,280 people in New York City alone. And here's the issue that I have with comparing these numbers. You have to look at the amount of time and the cause of these deaths. 2,763 people lost their lives in one day, or in an instant, you could say, from the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. 5,280 people have lost their lives over months in New York City. That is not comparable. Losing 2,763 people in one day is horrific, and it still stands as probably the worst thing that New York has ever experienced. And comparing it over here to COVID-19, the comparison it's not even there. And that's where I get so frustrated. It's kind of discounting all these people that lost their lives in one day by saying COVID-19 is worse. It is not worse. 9/11 was unexpected. I know there's some conspiracies as to whether or not the government knew about it or not, but nonetheless, the average everyday person who walked into that World Trade Center that day had no idea that this was going to be their last day on Earth. We had no warning. On the other hand, with COVID-19, we have had several months to prepare, and we just decided not to. We knew about this months before, happening in China, happening in other areas of the world, and coming over to here. We had time to prepare. Maybe we weren't expecting people to die as much. Maybe the people who got COVID-19 were not expecting to die, but we were expecting this scenario to happen. And while it is horrible that they lost their lives, and my heart goes out to anybody truly who has lost anybody from COVID-19, but it is not nearly as unexpected and dramatic as 9/11. I also want to point out that the people killed in 9/11 were a range of ages 2 to 85, which is a big range. The average age was about 39. For COVID-19, 8 out of 10 deaths in the US have been people over 65, which of course is awful. There have been people under 65 who have passed away from this disease. The people lost at 9/11 were a range of ages, and most of the people who have lost their lives to COVID-19 have been older with underlying health problems. And this is not to sound callous, because it is terrible that they lost their life. But we have to remember who is most susceptible to die from this virus versus the people on 9/11 who had no underlying anything that would have made them lose their lives that day. And the biggest thing that I want to point out is those who were involved in 9/11 did not have a chance. They did not have the chance to recover. Some people died almost instantly, and others were trapped and then later perished. And that is so, so sad. They did not have a chance. But there are people who are victims of COVID-19 who have the possibility of recovering, even if you're 65 and older. The chance is less, but it can happen. We have nurses and doctors, and we're taking care of people. No one has died because they haven't had a bed or proper medical care. And that's why I hate this comparison so much. So lastly, before we wrap this up, I just want to say a few things as to why I think Cuomo is using this comparison. First of all, it is a sensational type of thing. Whether he's doing that on purpose or not, it is a form of sensationalism. And if you want to learn more about sensationalism, you guys can go check out my video on yellow journalism, which is the video that I uploaded before this. But it is something that grabs people's attention and makes people think about how terrible this death toll is, because when you look at it in an instant, the numbers are dramatically different. And right now, Cuomo is really focusing on keeping that curve flat and keeping it going down. And when people see numbers like this, they get scared and they want to do whatever is possible to not lose any more lives or put their lives at risk at all. So it's going to make them quarantine more, work on their social distancing, stay home. And I think that's partially why this tactic is being used. I also think it's being used to bring the nation together, because 9/11 is something that brought the nation and the state of New York together. It was a terrible tragedy, and it kind of bonded people together. You know, there's a saying that everybody knows where they were when the towers fell, and it was something that has bonded people, maybe in a bad way, but bonded them nonetheless and made New York stronger. And I think Cuomo is kind of, in a way, trying to boost New York's morale and bring them together and help fight against this virus. But I just don't think that it's being done in a good way. There's a lot of focus on the numbers as opposed to the morale. So I just don't feel like it's effective nor respectful to those who have lost their lives at 9/11 or COVID-19. It's just, there is not a comparison. There's not a comparison. So that's it for me, you guys. I hope you guys like this video. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below, and please, please, please remember that these are my opinions and I'm using some evidence to back them up, but I am by no means saying that my opinion is correct and the only opinion. If you have a different opinion, I would love to hear it down below. Please just be respectful and nice. That's what we need right now, to be respectful and nice to each other. So put it down below and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys are staying safe and happy and healthy. Sorry this was a little bit more of a serious video, but I will be back hopefully with more enlightening content soon. Mwah.